Well, this wasn't presented early enough for work and deliberation to be done. And we need to be sure that the 2024 budget is properly covered before this comes into effect. We tilts the calendar because I know that the former administration tried very much to get us into the January budget cycle, but it feels like we're going off sync one more time. Now, the 2025 budget, Tinubu present 2025 budget prioritizes infrastructure, food, security, education as he met with the Joint National Assembly today. And well, I will get into some of the key areas of the budget for us to look at. One of the area is that he pegs it at $1,500 per dollar rate in 2025. Looking at his budget goal, I don't know what they intend to do to make sure that is a bit more realistic. And then earmarked 4.91 trillion naira for defense and security for the 2025 fiscal year. There's also infrastructure, health and education will get 4.06 trillion naira, 2.48 trillion and 3.5 trillion respectively. He said this when he presented the 2025 appropriation bill to a joint session of the 10th National Assembly. The bill is titled Restoration Budget, Securing Peace, Building Prosperity. And he explained that the highlight of the 2025 budget allocation, looking at defense security, I already gave you the breakdown of that, and the priority areas that they're going to focus on for 2025 budget cycle. But first off, let's get Dr. Majeed's take on the fact that, one, this is get late, December. For some time, the request has been, if we can pass the budget in August, to give time for a bit more deliberation. That would have helped. But sadly, this is also coming late, and the National Assembly is also saying that would affect how the next budget cycle comes on board altogether. And looking at what we're presenting, 49.7 trillion naira restoration budget, it seems we go bigger every single year. But we don't get to perhaps introspect and look at how we perform on the budget, because there's that expectation also for you to present, your report quarterly for us to know the performance of it. We don't get that much update. Yeah. Or is it the media that is not doing enough work to getting it out of the relevant government agencies?
I think it's a combination of both. However, sometimes even if that tries to rely on the Freedom of Information Act to extract information, they meet a brick wall because of the opacity in governance structures generally. However, like many Nigerians, I don't think I'm very excited about the 47 trillion naira budget, because as the years go by, due to inflation, due to the devaluation of the naira, our budget seems to be shrinking in real terms, even though it's ballooning in quantitative terms, but qualitatively it's actually reducing. So this budget, if converted to dollars, is just about $30 billion.
Okay.
Yes, for a country of 200 million plus.
Are we working with the 1,500 projected by the president, or the real current reality?
I don't know of any place in Nigeria can get $1 to exchange for 1,500. If there is that place, please point it to me. So that's about $30 billion, and it is grossly inadequate because, again, our revenue base is not robust enough to really, really adequately cater for Nigeria's security and welfare through this yearly cycle of budgeting. So that's on one hand. So nothing substantial has been improved in that regard. If you look at some other countries, they have higher budget spending than Nigeria. So it means they are going to pay their teachers well, better than Nigeria, pay their armed forces personnel better than Nigeria, manage infrastructure better than us, healthcare better than us. That's just what it translates to. People that have less population and more money to spend. So, and even this $30 billion, it does not mean that Nigeria is going to actually spend all of it, because we don't have the money. So there's a deficit of 13 trillion. The government is going to borrow to actually settle. So it tells you that we're not in a very physical, healthy physical shape as it is. So 2025 might be one of the toughest years ever. If 2024 was tough, 2025 is likely going to be tougher. Now, if you also look at the budget projections and estimates, again, I think there is something off about it. We've been on this road for many years now, and we've continued to record budget deficits. You cannot realistically peg your exchange rate benchmark on 1,500 naira to the dollar in a floated foreign exchange regime. That sometimes you introduce managed floating to control, because if you observe, when it's getting above 1,700 naira, there's an intervention that brings it down to below 1,700. And once that intervention stops again, it spikes back to where it was. So realistically, 1,500 naira to the dollar is simply impossible. Now, you're also going to benchmark oil production per day at over 2 million barrels. Yes, I know that a lot of work has gone into production. They've been able to ramp up production from 1.5 million barrels per day or less to almost 1.8 million barrels per day. But you cannot still benchmark a budget on a 2.1 million barrels per day that is not yet achieved. Even when you achieve 2.1 million barrels per day, it will have been much more economically wise to do a conservative estimate. That is, bring it below your sustainable production level so they can record surplus. Now, it's the same thing with almost all the other indices in the budget, really. They seem to be too unrealistic. I want to be so optimistic, just unrealistic. So for me, considering where we are today, I would have expected a budget that to correct some of these anomalies. For example, we should have actually benchmarked our foreign exchange in this budget at $1,800 to the dollar.
But wouldn't it be seen as the government looking in the future, saying we're incapable of addressing the exchange difference
No, it's to take care of any emergency. And if you work hard to bring back the foreign exchange to a manageable level, then that becomes a surplus for you. Now, for every time you're able to meet up that 1,500 benchmark, you are recording bigger deficits. The same thing with oil production per day. If you think you can do 2.1 million barrels per day throughout every single day in 2025, why not put the benchmark at 1,500? So that if there's any disruption in production, you will still have a safe, like a hedge that will not run into trouble. So these are the kind of things I had expected them to do, while cutting down drastically on some frivolous line items in the budget that would have made us to budget such a huge, in other terms of quantity, amount of money that is not really reflective of the quality of service delivery. Cut out all wastages, reduce some non-essential capital projects, if you ask me. Non-essential.
What would translate to non-essential?
You see, for a country that is in the state we are in now, you don't go about borrowing money or spending money on things that are not going to necessarily impact directly in people's lives, or if in case you borrow to do some of those projects, it can pay back. I've already said it before, and I'll say it again today, that look, there's no such thing as borrowing to do infrastructure. You only borrow to do business. So whatever infrastructure your physical capabilities cannot carry this year, do not overstretch it. Don't overstretch it. It's like cut your clothes according to your clothes. While doing the real work to expand this $30 billion for 200 million people to at least $200 billion for 200 million people. At least that should be the minimum for a country like Nigeria. We should have a budget that is less than $200 billion, or at worst $100 billion. At worst. Now the challenge is, how do we create the resources? How do we create the revenue that can make us budget this amount of money to substantially take care of our needs in a particular year? That should be the challenge.
I love the fact that you used the creating part, because just yesterday I was having a conversation with them and I was asking if Nigeria can actually thrive without loans from the IMF. And, a good number of people who shared their thoughts said it can't happen because, that creation of wealth within country, we've not been able to do that, even though every country borrows. But it feels like once we're able to pay a certain part, we go right into borrowing a lot more.
When you say every country borrows, it's not the way we borrow that every country borrows. And it's important we really talk about that. We borrow in the real sense of borrowing. Other countries simply sell securities, or at best, borrow from themselves.
Like domestic borrowing?
Okay, like the United States, for example, owns the dollar. So it can print the dollar and supply itself and claim it is quantitative easing.
But would it be fair for us to compare ourselves with the United States at this point, seeing that they have all the advantage?
That is where I'm going to. So since you don't have that advantage, do what China is doing. China is productive. Singapore is productive. Germany is productive. France is productive. Japan is productive. South Africa, Egypt. And how are they productive? The preponderance of state-owned enterprises. The GDP of France is dominated by state-owned enterprises, government-owned companies. You know, people don't understand this. A country like France, our president just came back from France, right? France is a major player globally in economic activities. They are a major investor nation, overseas investor nation. Any of the companies of France are either owned by the French government or fully supported by the French government. What that means is that for every revenue that comes through any of those investments from many of these countries, it goes into the coffers of the French state. For instance, the EDF is an electricity company, power company, that's a major global player. In fact, they play in the UK, they play in some parts of Europe. They run the largest transmission grid in Europe, 80,000 kilometers of high tension network of cables. It's owned by the French state. So anywhere they are operating, all of their profits are repatriated into the French coffers. This is why you sell crude oil in Nigeria. Now, if you look at a country like Qatar, Qatar has investments in Total, they have investment in Volkswagen, they have investment in Louis Vuitton, they have investments in almost every luxury item you know. So meaning for every time you buy a Louis Vuitton designer bag or shoe,
Qatar gets a cut.
Exactly. Now, BMW is substantially owned by the state of Lower Saxony in Germany. DHL is substantially owned by the German government itself. DHL. One of the largest printing presses in the entire world is owned by the German government, which caters, their clientele is almost all the countries of the world. So we hear that Nigerians go to Germany to print even currencies or something. The company printing it is owned by the German state. They render services. If it is China, that is the father of state capitalism anyway. Almost every company you see anywhere in the world that is Chinese is owned by the Chinese state. So countries that do not have dollars or cannot print dollars because they don't own it, like the United States, must work to earn money. Otherwise, you keep borrowing and you keep sorrowing. I've always said we need to have a change of direction in our political economics. It's common sense. You see, South Africa, all parties in South Africa, including the DA, the Nkoto Baswiswe, of course, the ANC, and the Julius Malemba's party, all of them. There's something that is common to all of them. They are all centered to the left parties, all of them, including the DA. It's not that the DA is a little bit more centrist than the others. But all of the parties in South Africa, including the ANC, believe that the state must sit on the driver's seat of economic activities. All of the parties in South Africa. Now, if you observe, Ghana is a very successful democracy now in the black world today. Ghana.
I mean, given the civil success of the election to a large extent, our president did say we need to emulate from Ghana.
Ghana is a very successful democracy, and I'll give you the reason why, just by way of digression. Ghana has overcome the twin evil of ethnic and religious identity politics. Wow. Almost completely. I go to Ghana a lot. And if you ask a Ghanaian your ethnic group, he or she is so embarrassed. They feel let down by that. I
thought it was
question.
just a Rwanda thing. I didn't know Ghanaians had so much of that.
Any country that wants to develop in the black world, of course, and all over the world, must follow that route first. So they were looking at how Jerry Rawlings, who positioned them on the path of nation building. However, their democracy has not yielded as much prosperity as that of South Africa has yielded, for instance. And the reason is simple. It is because all the parties in Ghana, not like South Africa, are all center to the right parties that believe that government has no business in business. So Ghana is essentially a private sector-driven economy. And because of that, the government itself has to rely on taxes, levies, to make do in terms of revenue generation. So the last government came in, increased social services, but had to overtax the people. Now this government that is coming in will have to cut back on social services and either reduce or maintain taxes at this level.
I think he actually did say that when he was interrogating loans that they're getting from the IMF and all of that, and said yes, he's not going to suspend that. However, they need to get stricter with their spending. But what that translates to, I hope, is not subsidies gone kind of. Because half the time when a government comes in, the easiest way is to...
They're looking at how to cut spending.
Yeah.
How come countries of South Africa, countries of Saudi Arabia, United States of America, Russia, Germany and most of Europe are able to maintain their social component, their social responsibility to their citizens without batting an eyelid under all seasons, under all weather? Because they have a lot of money coming in from their business enterprises operating all over the world, that they do not need to rely on taxes. In fact, when the time comes for tax to be waived, they waive it. Like Donald Trump is threatening to cut taxes across board as soon as he assumes office. Meaning you begin to wonder, so is it that America don't need tax revenues to function? No, because they have other streams of revenue away from taxation. But for countries in Africa that have swallowed this liberal concept, hook, line, and sinker, that is the problem. So my advice to Ghanaians is, now that your democracy has become standardized and can compete globally with any other democracy, please change economic direction. Begin to reinvest in state-owned enterprises. But there's a condition that must precede it, which I think Ghana can fulfill now. Any country that's been able to get rid of identity politics can easily solve its problem of corruption. It's easier to solve a problem of corruption. So Ghana should simply kill corruption, whatever is left of corruption in the country, completely, and allow government entities to function competitively like any other private sector-driven activity. That is where Nigeria is supposed to be. Look, if you don't, you first of all, you have to first reform government. But the more we delay that reform, that day that we need to commit the middle class suicide, the more we keep going around this circle. This budget looks like the previous year's budgets in outlook. It will really not solve much problems. It will really not be fully implemented because we don't have the money. Taxes might be raised. All of this, I'm told, it depends on the tax reform bills and the outcomes and the proceeds from there. We would have to be in that state. When you have a country, for instance, like Norway, one of the richest countries in the world, Norway has a company called Statoil. It's now known as Equinor. Statoil operates in 32 countries of the world. It's owned 66% by the Norwegian government. It operates in Nigeria. In one single year, I think in 2018, Statoil made a profit out of Nigeria alone of $18 billion. That's almost half of the budget we are budgeting from one source alone. So imagine how much they've made from all other countries. You don't know why Norway is the richest country and is able to provide the highest level of social security for its own citizens. Same thing with Switzerland. The same to all of the Nordic countries.
The Scandinavian countries.
Exactly. So it tells you that we need to take a turn away from where we are headed. Otherwise, the time will come that will become a real basket case of economic hopelessness that may not be redeemable.
Well, the president doesn't share that sentiment with you because he did say today that they are stimulating economy. Well, let's go on a quick break.
More talk, news and sports after this.
What does the new Amstel Malta Sleek Can look like? Slick, draped in red and gold. And the taste? Rich and so satisfying.
Amstel Malta, made with premium quality ingredients. Now in a sleek can.
Still listening? Go get yours.
With Amstel Malta, there is always more. Be your best.
We're bringing back again.
Events.com and Transco Hilton Abuja presents the biggest Christmas Day family comedy show in Abuja. Christmas in the City with Peter P. Square. Featuring Akboro, Nedu, Just Too Funny, Mr. Patrick from USA, MC Mitty, Mazi Prosper, Ebenezer, MC Fresh, Shortcut, MC Bob, Francis Atella, Deborah Ofedo, and your host.
Hello, my name is Kimberly. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
Economy, that we're on the right trajectory. There is no going back as the reforms are beginning to yield positive results. No reversal, Mr. President said today when he did present his budget. Or just in case you're wondering where Mr. President is, he just touched down Lagos at 3:25 p.m. Right after the budget presentation. Cannot come and go and kill himself. He has to just go to Lagos. I don't know if you have enough time to rest there, but apparently we're in the season. So he says it's a budget of restoration, securing peace and building prosperity, and that we are on the right trajectory with the reforms that's been introduced, and we're not going back on all of them. So you're looking at it from one end of the spectrum. The president and the government is on the extreme end of it, telling you it's all cupcakes and rainbows.
No. You can't even fault the president in this instance because this is what he believes in. These are the things he used to campaign. And of course, you recall that I opposed all of the things that he campaigned with. We had expected an opposition party in Nigeria. Any of the opposition parties have, by now, sat down to articulate a clear alternative to what these people are offering. So that on election day, people can now take a decision to say, look, we prefer this to this. This makes more sense to us than this. In where you don't have that alternative at all, it's even a bigger failure on the side of opposition parties than the government that is in power. Why is the president comfortable to continue to double down on his reforms that have created all of these crises we're facing? There are alternatives. I keep asking people, who is saying anything different? Who is saying we want to go a little bit to the left when the president is heading dangerously towards the right? Is there any political party or political leader that is making that alternative claim? We don't have any in the horizon. I know we're having a conversation about the failure of opposition in Nigeria. Be one of the greatest danger to our democracy.
I mean, it's a good thing that you even touched on this because, we've just been grappling with the fact that we're seeing a mass exodus of people from the Labour Party to the APC. I did
when
not see
I was shouting on this platform saying, number one,
I know you were critical of the fact that they felt like...
You know why? You know what's critical about Labour Party? I wasn't talking much about the PDP. The PDP and the APC are two sides of the same coin. They largely thrive on identity politics and traditional kind of politics. So they buy delegates, buy vote at the poll. So you don't expect so much from them. But Labour Party, I witnessed it. I saw how people sacrificed for that party and got put into the parliament. And they could not speak for the people when this government started.
All right. Okay, go ahead, Dr. Majeed.
They couldn't speak for it. I've not heard loudly any of them speaking for the people passionately. Sometimes it's Shomole that does their job for them. Shomole. Who's in the APC? Senator Shomole. I want to raise the concern. I know the Labour Party member, I thought I was attacking their party member. I said, these people are complicit. They have sold out. They have betrayed that revolution that we saw in 2023 that looked like a consolidation of our democracy going forward. And what was to follow? Mass decamping from the Labour Party to the APC, not even to the PDP, to the APC. And let me tell you, more will follow. Yes, don't be surprised that governors on the platform of other parties will soon jump. I didn't mention any state and any party anyway. Even governors will soon jump to the APC. And this is because those who voted for them, who have the voice, the social media platform, as at the time I was raising the alarm, refused to hold them to account to say, hey, you are not speaking for me. Why are you not speaking for me? You fired up. At least I live in Abuja and I witnessed elections in Abuja. I saw people lining up from morning to the next morning just to vote for Labour Party candidates against money spending parties, right? That your parties, ruling parties, are major opposition parties. And these people go to the parliament. Some of them some are chasing the FCT up and down for attention. And some are just run around. And I was asking, by now the opinion movement that the leader should be asking these people questions.
I know you've been extremely very critical about how they...
I will call down Mr. Peter Obi. So I said, Mr. Peter Obi, you can't lead people. People cannot believe in you and then believe on those you endorse that followed you into the platform. And they're betraying the people, and you should show your dissatisfaction, displeasure openly. Even if it means denouncing them, call them out and denouncing them, you have to do that for the people. So the people can now say, okay, we'll follow you next time. Knowing that if they betray us again, you'll be there to speak for us. When you don't speak, my fear is this. In 2027, people might not be able to be willing to come out and make that kind of sacrifice that is required to reset our democracy. Because what they did in 2023 that shut up Mr. Peter Obi to equal states with the two parties was phenomenal. Just a little bit more consolidation on that, maybe you would have turned the table. And you know the benefit for all of us as Nigerians. If anybody knows that you can be defeated by a group of people that don't wait for money, you will do well. You will now begin to do well. But when you know that nobody can defeat you, I mean, I'm not defeatable. You will not have the incentive to want to do well, to do for the people. So that's my worry. That is a loss for our democracy because people made effort. People made the effort. It was not a small sacrifice.
But even beyond the honorables who decided to migrate from their party, we're also seeing the threat within the party itself, Labour Party, if you're going to look at it, from the Abure, the leadership issues they've had to actually putting themselves together and identifying with that movement, with that spirit.
You know the problem.
I don't want to say Umbutu because
you know the problem. A party must have a belief system that binds its people together. And that belief system is the responsibility of the party leadership. In this instance, the presidential candidate himself, the organized labor leadership, and the party should have sat down and said, look, what does this party really mean for the people? In terms of tangible, intelligible pieces of ideology and doctrines. That should have happened after the election, because you can say that the Labour Party came in as just like a proposed an SPV to run that election. But when you saw the phenomenal success, this should have followed immediately, so that the Labour Party will now pledge. So the least this can do for people. And we saw how Abia State people defied all odds to elect Alex Oti. We saw it now. Is to pay fidelity to the constitution of this country. That is, where other parties are found wanting, we must not found wanting. I wrote a piece and said, Labour Party members in the House of Reps must be truly honorable. Their members in the Senate must be truly distinguished. Their governors must be truly excellent. That is, today they would have been the reference point for good governance across the board. Not just roads and bridges, in terms of obeying the constitution. That is, you now hear that Labour Party controls states. Their own state independent electoral commission is better than what happened in Ghana. I would have look, assembly is autonomous according to the constitution now. The judiciary is without interference. You will just in 4 years people would have come to the reality that the states Labour Party are managing have been able to bring out the best in our constitution. Local government autonomy will not be a problem. I didn't expect Alex Oti to join other governors to oppose local government autonomy as a Labour Party candidate, because if others spent money and they needed to dig into local government funds, you didn't. You should have been the different one. They would say no, but Alex Oti has given full autonomy in line with the constitution. He doesn't tamper with the funds. He joined the other governors to go to the Supreme Court to oppose local government autonomy. He was among. He shouldn't have done that. These are little things that would have distinguished that state. And when the thing now trickles into physical development and impact, the states in Imo people, the neighboring states like Rivers, they will contribute money to bring Alex Oti to be replicated across all those states in Labour Party platform. You see, that's how it works. It was a big track record in Anambra that kind of sold him. Well, we didn't have to say much now. Just go back to his Anambra records. His references to his own records in Anambra. That was all. Imagine when you now do much more and take it a notch higher. Now, by now, you have heard that in the National Assembly, Labour Party members of National Assembly are very forthright. They don't participate in anything. That when they go for oversight, they pay their own bills and they write minority reports. So okay, if others say they didn't say something, we saw. More people will now be inclined to say, okay, we need to now vote for more people like this to make the assembly. But as it stands today, the apathy will return because it's like they just have been serially jilted over and over. And for a jilted human being, whether male or female, it will take just more than the words of a mouth to arouse their interest anymore. You have to begin to perform ahead. You have to jump protocol. Ahead of thought, you have to begin to perform.
To actually get your attention.
That is the issue. Oh. And with that, the establishment politicians will have a field day because people no longer have a trust in any of the alternatives. That is the danger to our democracy. I respected the Labour Party, those who worked for this party, to have early in the day called out those that they voted for to say, this is why I voted you into this place. I didn't just post my vote. You must show responsible representation. They didn't show it. All of the months that Tinubu's policies really brought pain, we didn't hear enough of their voices on the floor, articulating alternatives or call on the government to do the need. We didn't say it. So why would anybody come out tomorrow to vote for any party that pretends to want to bring change? Don't forget that APC did the same thing to Nigerians in 2015. PDP itself, as a ruling party that took over the military, also let the people down. Why would anybody now stress themselves? If they have alternatives in money, let me even put it straight to you. Have you noticed that Labour Party has been having not so good fortunes in that, or subsequent elections, including in those states? Why? Because the ones that voted for, what are they doing? Look at what they do. They have a senator from Edo. They have a senator from Edo.
Well, I think it's just a movement, just the way we get the APC sack that happened in 2015 with Buhari, where it was put on a fathers.
As a leader of that party, not have been able to use.
No, I'm saying that it's the kind of energy, the same kind of movement that we saw in the last election.
The APC today has to pay money to win elections. Do you know how Buhari won elections? It was phenomenal. People was busy throwing weight around. Buhari was just winning because they believed in him. After 8 years, he didn't live up to that expectation. Yes, he failed to have repositioned the party along those ideas that he was voted for. Now we are saying those that were elected. You see, Obi was not elected as president. So maybe if you have been elected as president and his party is still like this, we can hold him fully responsible. We are saying that for those who are elected, like in Abuja, the senator in Abuja defeated a very powerful and influential PDP senator, Philip Aduda. I don't know if you understand. She defied all polemics to defeat Aduda, right? Are you telling me today that the same vigor with which people came out to defeat Aduda in the last election, you think it will happen in the next election? It can't happen. It will not. It won't.
Would it be because the people have lost confidence in the Labour Party and that energy will not be there? Or because we have machineries that we put in place by?
Speaking, what has been the impact of a Labour FCT senator in Abuja at times like this?
Are we to throw the antagonism that we see between her and the FCT ministers?
It's not personal. I want to see you, you want to see me. What do you need to see him for? Go to the floor, pick up his budget, look at it. If it does not favor people, speak out on it. Simple. Be heard.
All right.
Yes. Why do you want to see him? What are you seeing him for? And I said, I don't want to see, I'm not your friend. Back and forth. Yes. Be forthright. Let us hear your position clearly. The man representing the president in the House of Reps is from no party. I don't know his name anymore. I heard of him last the day he was declared as winner of the election. He defeated the president's party member who happens to Bani Koro's son and defeated our own beloved hip-hop star and music maker. What's his name again?
In the FCT House of Reps?
No, the man representing president in Ethiopia.
Oh,
Wellington, Banky W.
Yeah, Banky.
This guy defeated Banky W of the PDP, defeated Bani Koro of the APC to emerge. I don't know his name. As current as I think I am, I don't know his name anymore. I've not heard his voice on the floor of the National Assembly since the day he was declared winner.
Are you sure? I think he's one of those who has also moved.
So is it fair? People voted for you without money against the party you now come to with their mandate. Is it fair?
Well, they say there's problem in the party. That's their own
if there's
side
the party,
of the
I don't know that party and solve the problem of the party that get that platform by simply doing that, which people expect them to do, which is easier for them. Do you know that the reason why Americans don't spend money for elections? They don't have to, because if you remain true to your constituents, year in year out, they'll keep returning you. You don't have to spend money.
All right. Well, let's get feedback on what you make of our conversation with Dr. Majeed. And just so you know, we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube at Nigeria Info Abuja. Please join us there, leave your comment, and don't forget to like and comment on our Merry Christmas video that we talked about some days back. We're also on YouTube at Nigeria Info Abuja. The video is also there, as much as we'd love to see your comment on the conversation at hand. Good to see Dr. Majeed in the studio today. You're welcome back, sir. Kim, you're doing well. Akukini Samson. Mansoor Umar, happy to see Dr. Majeed. Joshua Power, thank you for joining us. Feel the future. Good afternoon to you also. Nas J, it's good to have the program back on air. Please help us keep the program on air, as this is the only way some of us outside ABJ can follow up to date news. Inua in Warri, Delta State. Inua will do our best, okay? And on Facebook, Joel Magaji says, Dr. Majeed, we missed you a lot. Nigeria will be back stronger again by God's grace. Salisu May Gemu. In Nigeria, any company owned by a government will be dead on arrival because corruption won't allow it to thrive. Ozo Namani is watching from Amagunze in Enugu State. Good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. Nelson Chidi, congratulations to us. Finally, we have a complete show today. Oh, show has not been complete before. All right, then let's hear two callers and we'll look at other aspects of our budget. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon, Dr. Majeed.
Good afternoon, sir.
The Oracle, I greet you. My name is Salasi.
You're welcome.
It's just what Dr. Majeed is saying about the opposition. Honestly, in this country now, we don't have opposition. And because of that, I lose hope come 2027. Because the people that support... Do you remember APC when they were in opposition? The life of Lai Mohammed, the life of our president, even when Jonathan trying to remove subsidy, do you know how these people come out, occupy Lagos and Abuja? And this is the same people now, they are in this government, and the other people are in the other, on the other side. They can't even speak for the masses. This man came to remove the subsidy on electricity. He came to remove subsidy on fuel. He came even with the policies on that are not even palatable to the masses. But they keep mute. Atiku can't talk. Obi can't talk. Other people can't talk. We don't have any viable opposition. And look at them defecting from APC, Labour Party, and defecting to APC. Even the PDP don't have nothing because PDP is APDPC. So this are the thing, we don't have viable opposition. It's only God that will help us. So unless the masses stand on their ground, they can be able to out the government out. But without that, I'm telling you, we don't have viable opposition. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello, Kim. How are you?
Fine and well. You're welcome.
Yes, my name is Jafaru, also known as Mr. Nigeria.
Go ahead, sir.
The president said he is not going to double down on his policies. That means...
This is Nigeria Info. This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Back your position and decisions.
All right.
Let them throw any... So that without...
Thank you very much. Jafaru, thank you very much. Hello? Hello? Okay, having challenge connecting. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, you're welcome.
Hello?
We can hear you, sir.
Hi, Kim. How are you, Mr. Majid? Thank you very much for your analysis. I really appreciate your analysis. But let me be honest with you. The people we think they
Oh, dear.
have the capacity. Obi does not have the capacity. Because if he had the capacity, like Salasi said, you will have sat down on each of those bills, give us your own position on them. Even when budget is passed, give us your position. This is what opposition does in other countries. They look at the budget, they look at your policy, they tell you, policy, this is what I think about it, this is my opinion, this will not go well. If I'm the one, I'm going to do this. They do that. We do the need. What if we don't know? So obviously, if you say that you're going to be different from the person that is there, what are you going to give to us? On the set of leadership, I agree with you. Obi is not being voted for. The ones that are voted for are to fix it. But I also think that as Peter Obi as a person, policy this you're going to become a president, you're not going to use your company. You're going to use a party. You need to also influence that party to start thinking the way you think. We can say of what the president did when he was in ACN, when he started the party chairman, but they still call him as well. They still call him party leader because whatever.
All right.
What decision they are going to make, I expect that Obi should have that influence on Labour Party. Using is his name they are using to get people. So I think they don't. If they have the capacity, they will have done different. But I think they don't have the capacity. That's why what is happening to the party. They don't see leadership. That's
all
why
right,
they all run to other places. And it's pain.
All right, sir.
I agree with you. But for the other policies, sorry, Kim, let me quickly round up this. For the other policies, even the countries where government is into those government, we have here in Nigeria, even when government wants to invest in people's business to get a little share of it, they don't want to give it.
All right,
so
thank you very
much.
much.
Mr. Majeed, what do you do? Thank you very much.
Let's hear another caller. A lot of people waiting, so let's go straight to the point. Hello.
Hello, Kim. Good afternoon.
You're welcome.
Mr. Majeed, you are welcome back.
Good afternoon, sir.
We miss you. It's good that you even take a break from this Nigeria wahala.
You see how I'm looking so refreshed
He's
now.
looking really fresh, and I'm beginning to think we're stressing this man.
It's just from his voice. Even from his voice, you can see a relaxed man.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. My name is Adeba Ayawode, calling from Dede.
Go ahead, sir.
Now, if you see, we can crucify Peter Obi as much as we like, but there is one thing we have to get right here. Look at the wave of defection from Labour Party elected House of Representatives and whatsoever. They are not thinking of now. They are thinking of 2027 because they know that as things stand today, they cannot even win a ward in their constituencies. And it shows who we really are as a people. It's not even about political party. If tomorrow, even the way the article and all this little operation, if they match tomorrow, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. At the end of the day, if they manage to win, you will still see the wave of defection from the current APC people now. They will jump into it. I think there is something wrong with our psyche as a people, as a Nigeria. The 8% of people in APC today, are they not the former PDP people? They jump ship. No ideology, no shame at all. To even say, okay, I will remain here. Do we see any way for diversion as Donald Trump win election in US today? People will remain there. They will begin to campaign. They will begin to extract the policies of the current government and wait for the next election. But that's not the case in Nigeria.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate. Hello. Let's hear one more call and then get response from our guest. Hello.
Hello, Kim. Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Yeah, Majeed, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, my name is Jerry. Majeed, it's not only the political parties. Even our religious leaders, where are they? All our religious leaders are making noise, criticizing Jonathan, Buhari. Where are they? Where is the...
Oh, dear. Okay, I think it came from our end. Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello, Mr. Kim. Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, ma. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Welcome. Yes, welcome back. I will say that the way the politics of our country is being run is what gives rise to the redundant attitude of opposition. So I feel when somebody will, like the current president is sitting now, all other people that are supposed to remain with the opposition like P2B, they start tilting towards the sitting president in order to gain favor. That is why it looks as if the opposition has no base. He's left alone. And even those of them that was in the party are still strong and stand strong behind him, then he will have a strong voice to talk against or to criticize positively what the sitting president is doing. But in the sense that every governor, every senator, they are looking for favor from the sitting president so that their sins will be covered. They are leaving the opposition leader alone. So there is nothing much he can do. That is the way I see it. If I'm to say, I think Peter Obi is a good opposition, but he lacks supporters. They have all deserted him.
All right. Thank you very much. Saying Peter Obi, I don't know. Peter Obi has not come out to say that, but that's the impression. Apparently,
no, Obi is not. People are trying to make Obi the issue of this conversation. No, what we are saying is this. As a party, Obi himself is aware that people sacrificed and looked the other way, away from instant gratification from other parties to vote for your party. At the time that your members were not speaking out enough for the people, Obi, you should have expressed concern. It's either you call them to a meeting or you openly rebuke them. It's within your right to do so. When you do that, your members will now begin to rebuke each of their representatives to say, our leader has spoken. You didn't say that. Now they have decamped. There's no reaction from you. No, you don't take, you see, people like we are human beings. So people that are still speaking today, by the time we get to 27, they will not have the energy to come out to vote for anybody. That's the truth. It will affect our democracy. That's the point I'm trying to make.
So the fear there's going to be a voter apathy when we get to the
once you voted for what happened, the apathy started already. Look at Edo. Edo is a state that ordinarily should have been Labour Party state. The candidate was lost in that election. Was beating black and blue. Why would anybody
His
vote
number
for
was so insignificant.
Why would anybody vote for? Why do you want to vote for a Labour Party free candidate? The one you voted for there, what difference has he made? That is the issue. And this will repeat itself across all constituencies, including places you don't. I'm not a soothsayer. It will happen everywhere.
No, but what does this mean when we have such an invisible opposition at this point in time?
That's the point I'm making.
Because I am also
it's
worried
going
that
to
what
affect our democracy. You will have no. Okay, like some of us who might be who might be satisfied with the status quo will simply sit at home and not vote. So those who are benefiting in matter of few.
If we now get the voter apathy, how does it change anything? We're throwing our hands in the air.
That's why we are speaking about it now. Look, in the build up to 2015 election, let me tell you this, people have forgotten.
Okay, maybe we'll talk about it after this break.
Right after this.
Hello, football fans. It's your guy, Brother Shaggy. Are you ready for the ultimate football experience? Predator Energy Drink is giving fans the chance to win a football experience in London with the one and only Brother Shaggy. Just buy a bottle of Predator Energy Drink, check under the clock, and text your unique code, name, age, and location to 50221. Open to MTN, Airtel, and Etisalat users. Plus, you can win other amazing prizes like airtime, flat screen TVs, and football. So what are you waiting for? Get a Predator Energy Drink, enter the promo, and score big with Predator Energy and Shaggy. Terms and conditions apply. Promo runs till 28 February 2025. Predator Energy Drink. Rule your kingdom.
What does the new Amstel Malta Sleek Can look like? Slick, draped in red and gold. And the taste? Rich and so satisfying.
Amstel Malta, made with premium quality ingredients. Now in a sleek can.
Still listening? Go get yours.
With Amstel Malta, there is always more. Be your best.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
All right, just before we run for the news.
Kim, let me remind you of what happened in Nigeria between 1999 and 2015.
Please do.
People like Femba Jabi Amila were hotheads on the floor of the National Assembly from the opposition side. Hotheads. They will stand up to criticize, to critique, to point out the flaws of government. They had personalities in the opposition too that were there steadily opposing. That was by 2012 when Jonathan removed subsidy. Nigerians were mobilized. There was a groundswell of opposition to that policy to the extent that it forced the government's hand backwards to reversing it. Tinubu wrote an opinion and gave a clear alternative to what Jonathan had done. Something that nobody has written to him from any of the major parties. Where he said, he criticized the policy of subsidy removal and rather urged for the alternatives. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
So Nigerians have something to hold on to oppose Jonathan's policy. And by 2015, the coalition that came together to remove people from power had a Buhari who had an established personality, a credential of incorruptibility, where the PDP has been painted as corrupt, right? Guess what? In the ranks of the ACN governors then, you had a performing governor like Oshomole, whose works we have regularly advertised in the media. I mean, you had governors like Fashola, that was a star governor of the ACN then. So you had people like Adebeshola then, whose infrastructural development, strides were well advertised. People now had the impression that with a corrupt freeman and performing technocrats like this, an APC government at the center can do better. That was the groundswell of opposition you saw against the PDP. We are saying that has not been the situation since 2015. And it's a failure of the opposition. So why the former opposition succeeded? These ones have failed. And let us tell ourselves the truth. Because we're in a democracy. To change what you don't want, it has to be democratically effected. Yeah. You can't do it by subterfuge. The only thing that can defeat any system that is entrenched is people power. The Labour Party came close to winning that last election because of people power. Why? Inspired by one man's personality. We are saying people that got elected on that platform have betrayed the people to the extent that I fear that if people are called out to vote in the next election, they might express his ambition that even if this personality wins the election, how is he going to control his party men at other arms of government?
Well, some would say there are a lot of responses to threats. There's that fear factor.
There's no fear factor. I can tell you this authoritatively.
No, it could just be one to spur people to saying, we're not comfortable with the policy of this government. We need to go out and do something about it. We'll take it up after the news. Let's join Dorcas for the news at 4.
This is Nigeria Info.